Do that. I'm going to call the June 3rd, 2025 regular scheduled board meeting to order. I've asked Commissioner Perkins to lead us in the invocation and prayer, and then Commissioner Hill is going to lead us in the pledge. If y'all would, please stand.
Let us pray. God, our Father in heaven, we come once again, God, thanking you for life, health, and strength. And, oh God, we thank you, dear God, for allowing in the healing process, dear God, to be complete. For Mr. Scott, dear God, allow him to be here tonight, oh God. We thank you, God, for your hand of mercy being upon them. Now, Lord, we ask that you continue to look upon this board, dear God. Give us direction, dear God, how to handle this, all the situations and circumstances that may come up for this board. Give us wisdom, give us knowledge and understanding. And we ask, dear God, you continue to remember our officials, dear God, in the county, dear God, that you look on all our officials, look on our departments, and then, God, look on, dear Heavenly Father, God, all of our workers. And Lord, we ask that you will, Heavenly Father, God, to look on our nation, dear God. Look on our president. Look on, dear God, Congress and Senate, dear God. Look on them all, dear God. Bring them together into one mind. Oh, God, to serve the people, dear God. And Father, we pray, dear God, look upon all of our first responders, God, who look after us, dear God, while we slumber and sleep each night. Protecting us from all harm and danger. Look on those, dear God, that's on foreign soil, God. They're protecting our freedom. And we pray, God, you continue to bless and watch over and protect us all, dear God. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Which is the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight. The first item on our agenda is the May 20th, the approval of the minutes from the May 20th, 2025 regular scheduled board meeting. Any commissioners have any questions, comments, concerns in regards to those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner White.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor of approval of those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item on the agenda is public concerns and comments. I have several cards here. And if you didn't fill out a card, you can come up after these folks. I have, who do I have? Mr. Vincent Mancusi, did I say that right? Live Oak, Florida, 32060. Welcome, sir. If you would come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, as everyone else will do that follows you. And
my name is Vince Mancusi. I'm at 11781 72nd Pass, Live Oak. I'm a disabled veteran of 100% from Vietnam. I'm 77 years old. Just thought I was going to retire here and have a good time. But I got caught up in the Suwannee County laws that have been just brutally beating me up alive. I've been Baker Act, I've been injunctioned, I've been everything else. I can't get my mail. The post office won't give you my mail. You know, I've been almost a year without my mail from Miami. I sold my house in Miami and moved here, trying to take care of things, and all I get is problems. Never any help. I get problems. And I'm here to look at you guys to see if anything you could do for me. Because I had the post office go there, they researched it and said it was my mistake, it's my fault, and they can't do that. The sheriff's department says they can't do anything and help me. I got 9 children and 3 adults that are, immigrants that are living in my property. They have more rights than I have. They're using my address. They're taking my drugs from the VA. They're taking my mail. They've already took it and invested $100,000 of my money in a place in Mexico. So, I'm stuck, and of course the VA that's helping me says we don't want to get involved in all the law. So I need right now a lawyer that can do criminal and malpractice process, and there's no help from it. But I appreciate the time and effort to at least talk to you and tell you that it's given most of the veterans. I have 8. I'm a member of all the groups here in Live Oak and in Lake City. How many veterans have been taken advantage of by the system? the system has really put them as bad people, and they're dangerous, and they're going to put you away. And that's all they care about. Because I was beaten, pissed on, shit on, and puked on while I was in the Baker's Act place. And I will file federal court issues and waste all my money in trying to get this thing done. So if you have any help to what I've given you, I would really appreciate it.
What was your house number again?
It's 11781 72nd Pass.
I got the 72nd pass. That's Live Oak,
yeah,
right?
Live Oak. Everyone, is mixed up, but they don't know if it's in 5. They didn't know if it was in 1. On and on. And then the sheriff says, I have nothing to do with trying to get those people out of there. I've invested $5,000 to have the immigrant arrested, and they haven't done anything.
I'm confused on what your problem is. I've heard the post office. I've heard people on your property. I've heard, what is the problem you're seeking for us to help you remedy?
To answer the problem with the postal, all the laws of the Suwannee County doesn't let me have my mail. I can't go there to get the mail and my possessions in the house because of the injunction. Then I made a post office box, and the post office box says you can't have your mail transferred to that from my house that I own. I have a VA loan for $150,000 on it, and I don't live there.
We don't have any jurisdiction over the post office.
Okay.
So I can't help you with the post office. I don't know, Mr. Morrison, you got any advice over there? Maybe an attorney or something? I really don't know if he's got what the squatters. I mean, they squatting on your property, or you're trying to evict them off your property, or your
Trying
family?
to get them off my property.
I would recommend 2 sources. If there's issues and you're indigent, there's Three Rivers Legal, which offers indigent.
I've been there.
Okay.
They said I make too much money to get any help from them.
And then the other alternative is the county does employ someone for veteran services to aid with.
I've been there too.
So, but beyond that, I'm not really sure of available
All they've done
resources
is
for
made
it.
my stay here in Suwannee County very painful and very disgusting. I'm trying to get and move to Georgia now, just to get out of here from all your problems.
The sheriff's back here. Sheriff, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are you familiar with his situation here? Or has your office done anything for or against? Or
Not the whole thing, I'd have to do a little investigate myself.
Okay.
But, if you want to.
Can you two mind?
I'll give you, after the meeting here, we'll sit down and talk and see if we can help something out. We'll get, I'm not sure just what.
That's as much as I've gotten so far.
Okay. So that's our county sheriff, Sheriff St. John. So if you would get with him after our meeting here, or if y'all want to step outside for a few minutes during the rest of these comments, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it sounds like you might be able to help him more than what.
That help, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just what, but if you want to set the meeting, we can step outside now, we can talk and figure something out.
He can get your name and number, and maybe help dig into it tomorrow morning or something, and give you a call back.
That's why I came here.
Well, if you would step outside and talk to him and give him your contact information, then maybe he can find some answers for you and get back with you tomorrow. Okay. Bo Hancock, updates and questions on something. Yeah.
Bo Hancock, 6135 Wiggins Road. Just real quickly, it's just some of the things that y'all have acted on in the past and haven't heard nothing back from that. First thing's the rail spur. Anything,
Talking to the mic.
Any news from the rail spur? Any changes or improvements?
Will be, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes, sir.
the Matco is supposed to be here next meeting for the purposes of updating it as to that.
Is he willing to do anything that you know of?
Yes, sir. From what I understand, but he'll be here to answer to them.
Okay, thank you. That was one. Where do we stand on the COVID building? That was pulled, and now nothing's been passed, been bidded out, awarded the bid. Nothing's
Mr.
going
Scott.
on. And I don't want to put Greg on the spot.
I will.
So we had to get an extension. We did the extension. It's back to Department of Commerce to review the plans and the bids we did for the building. Waiting to hear back from Department of Commerce. Hopefully in the next couple of days we'll get a response so we can move forward.
Don't you love coming back to this?
Absolutely. Better than the alternative.
I'll keep watching that, but that's not going to turn into an exhibition too, is it?
No, sir.
Okay.
Nope.
68th Terrace, that was pulled because of some legal issues. Where do we stand on 68th Tracer? Is that coming back?
It's out to bid now, I believe. Holland?
Yes, sir.
It's out to bid.
Okay. Because I hadn't heard nothing else, nothing has reappeared. And on, what happened to the $2.5 million bridge loan? Are we still working on that, trying to figure out how we can do what we need to do?
Mr. Furry, Mr. Scott.
So we're trying to get some clarity from Department of Emergency Management in Tallahassee on the other 2.5. Now the legislatures will be doing something. Maybe we'll find out something in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we can give you an answer by the next meeting.
Is it emergency management or the Department of Commerce?
Well,
They're tied together.
So you got Commerce is the bridge loan, but if we get the other money, we don't need the bridge loan.
No, I understand that, but we're not making any progress though.
Maybe not at your speed, but we're making progress. We're kind of stuck in the middle of a shoving match in Tallahassee if you ain't been watching the news.
Well, there is a mess going on over there. But progress, if you turn around at the end of the day and you look behind you, there's where your progress is. We can turn around in Suwannee County and ain't much going on right now. Hopefully it'll change. I'll be talking on some of the consent items a little bit later, along the same lines, but not exact. Thank you.
We always appreciate you, Mr. Hancock. Mr. Hancock, I got one for you, but yours is on item number 10. So you just want to wait till item number 10? Because that's under general business, so I'll give the public an opportunity to speak on them agenda items. Okay? Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Next item on the agenda is proclamations and presentations. I see none. Consent agenda, I have items 6, 7, and 8, right?
Yeah.
6, 7, and 8 going to be pulled for some clarity. And so that leaves items 2, 3, 4, and 5. Any questions, comments, concerns, or do I have a motion to approve those items 2, 3, 4, and 5?
So moved.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Perkins.
I'll second it.
A second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, Commissioner Mobley.
6, 7, and 8. Mr. Hancock wanted a little clarity on that.
Okay.
Yep.
You again.
Yep.
How did we get so lucky?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it is your lucky day.
I'm due for one.
Okay, on item number 6, and I don't have any problem with any of these 3 items. I think they ought to be passed. But I have some questions and some things I want to point out to you, and it has to do with progress. I was wrong a while ago, I misspoke, but it is progress. One of them, damn it, got it out of order. The parking lot at the airport, no problem with that. Need to get that taken care of. But the problem what we have with that is the timing of that. And where in the heck is that sheet of paper? I got too many papers here. Okay, that's the gummit. My age is showing, gentlemen.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Gummit. Anyway, on the parking lot, that with the original beginnings of that project started in 23. It's been over a year. We're just now getting to this point on that particular project. What takes so long?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Scott.
it's called FAA
On both of them?
on both projects, yes, sir. Those projects are the parking lot project is called bill money. It's federal money coming through that was allotted through FAA to help small airports, other airports. It just takes a while for the process to work.
I don't recall it taking this long in the past.
Usually it takes 5 years to get on the list and get moved through. This one moved a lot faster than normal, actually.
My memory's failing, but okay, that's what you say.
Hey, if you think you can get it done higher, Greg's got applications.
Y'all wouldn't want me working for y'all, I can tell you. Y'all would really, really be unhappy.
I would actually like that better. I'd have some control over you then.
No, you wouldn't. You'd fire me. I can tell you right now, I wouldn't last a week. We have just grant number on the last item having to do with this package plant at the Catalyst site. Why did Department of Commerce pull that or extend or pull the time back by 3 months, shorten it?
You want to answer that?
We don't know.
Okay. I understand it. State government, I understand that answer.
It's federal money that they don't want to turn back, so they're getting pressure from their higher ups, and they want to move the deadline up to give us a little bit of wiggle room.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
That makes more sense than a lot of the answers we can get or have in this hearing. Okay. You look at the timeline on this, the adjusted timeline. You got 26 weeks to order the plant or the parts, if you will, and another 8 weeks for them to assemble that, what they can assemble. Then it's got to be shipped here, and then 12 to 16 weeks. If you total all that up, you have until August of next year to get this thing up and running. That timeline that I just mentioned is only 50 weeks. You can get to maybe June, middle of June, to get that thing done. Now, if they've already cut the time on this grant by 3 months already, how can you go back and try to get an extension if something happens? That's my concern.
I think we've talked to the provider of the equipment. Those are worst case scenarios. They feel like they can get that equipment to us much quicker than that. But the CYA, that's what they put.
That's what was in the packet, and that's what I went with.
I understand.
I don't have all the background information, but I'm not going to run for public office. That's your job, and I can get to come up here and give you cane over it.
Part of me thinks you enjoy it too.
I do. Hey, it's my tax dollars at work.
Hey,
I get to see it work, and I get to
Amen.
see your happy faces. There you go. Franklin's just tickled thing.
I love it when you come up here, Mr. Buck. You don't bother me.
Mr. Mobley, anything else on 6, 7, or 8?
Appreciate it.
Or do I have a motion to approve those consent agenda items?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Mobley, second by Commissioner White. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item on the agenda, constitutional officer items. Any constitutional officers present wishing to speak? Well, you going to speak on behalf of the sheriff?
I'm going to speak on the emergency management.
Well, I would say you would go under staff, but that's next too, so we'll let you go ahead and go.
Okay, well, I was just going by what Mobley told me, so.
Oh, that was your first mistake. Poor you.
Heather Henderson Shoy, 617 Ontario Avenue, Southwest, Live Oak, 32064. I ain't going to take up much of your time today. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity. We will be having our local mitigation strategy meeting, an LMS meeting, on June 19th. At the last meeting, we said that we would let you guys know when we were having that meeting. It's open to the public. We encourage all of our citizens, any citizens that's and business owners that want to attend, to provide input. This committee guides the preparation of the Suwannee County LMS, which serves as a plan to reduce the community's long-term risk for protecting people and property from the effects of natural disasters, and to build a safer and stronger community. It's going to be a brief meeting. It'll be at 10 a.m. at the EOC.
10 a.m. June 19th at the EOC.
Yep. We're also going to put it in the newspaper. So when we get that ad processed, I'm just asking that the county put it on their website for the public, if they can do that.
Can you get with Greg, Mandy, Jason, somebody over there and on that side and make sure they get it on the website for you?
I will. It should be by the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
Mandy
email them
has
what you want to put on there. I'm sure they'll get it done.
Yeah, it'll be just like the ad. That's what we're going to post on our Facebook as well.
Okay.
So it's all consistent.
Fair enough. Anything
That's
else?
all I got.
That'll work. June 19th at 10 a.m. at the EOC. Local LMS.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heather.
Travis, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you got to go back and approve 6-7.
We already did. You were sleeping. Turn your hearing aids up a little bit. Any other constitutional officers? None. Any staff members wishing to speak tonight? Welcome, Mr. DeHane. Here's your airport guy. This is him. Welcome, sir.
Evening, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give a brief update on items 6 and 7. So, like Mr. Hancock, it seems like that we are not making progress on that because there are some delays with the FAA, especially with the type of funding for item number 6. But that item just closed bid today. So we're looking for construction start on that in September, October. So that's the update for item number 6. Item number 7, that bid will be closed out next Tuesday. And then we're looking for a January start date, but it could possibly get pushed back due to all the construction that's going on in the county, in the surrounding area. So we do have to work with the schedules of the construction companies, and that will be reflected in their bids. So we will find out more on that tomorrow or next week. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
Good deal. We appreciate the
Any
update.
questions?
Anybody got any questions for?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Any other staff? Welcome, Mr. Rod. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just want to update you on a few things we have going on at Parks and Recreation. First project is the Charles Springs floating dock boat ramp. On May 19th, the engineers issued a punch list to the contractor. So the contractor has indicated that he's finished those items. The engineers are supposed to check and confirm this week to confirm that the work is complete to our satisfaction. And hopefully we will be having a ribbon cutting on that project soon. For the Coliseum projects, we are waiting on the final plans for the new building. They should be finalized hopefully by June 20th, at which point we'll be able to go take that project out to bid to start work out there. The tree thinning project out at the Project Summit site has been completed. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to drive by the site yet. They took out all the pines there and left some pretty nice hardwoods. Actually, it looks very nice. So we did receive payment for that. There is still some work, obviously, we need to do to finish that site, clear some stumps, clear some tree debris, and we'll keep moving forward with that. Excuse me, this morning we did open the RFQs for the MPCF grants and the AACH grants for Douglas Center, John Hill Park, and the South County Community Center. So we will begin our initial negotiations with the highest ranked firm, Gray Construction. We'll begin those initial conversations next week and hope to get moving on those projects soon. And the last fun part is starting on Thursday at the Sports Complex. We are hosting the District Babe Ruth Baseball Tournament. It runs Thursday to Sunday. We got 31 teams participating. So I'm sure some of you guys have kids or grandkids out there. I encourage you to go check out the park, support our community, and root for the home team.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anybody any questions for
appreciate
Alden?
Thanks for the update.
Thank you. Appreciate the update. Thanks, sir. Any other staff members wishing to speak tonight? Seeing none, next item on the agenda, commissioner items. Any commissioners got anything tonight? Nope. County Attorney, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two things. First, recalling back to not our last meeting, but the meeting before, Mr. Chairman, you had talked about giving me authority to negotiate with an anonymous benefactor who wishes to make a specific devise to the county. I've met with him, and he in fact wants to make that devise. He needs some paperwork from the county to accept that gift, so as to not give up his anonymity in a public meeting. I'd ask I've certainly kept you informed, Mr. Chairman, as to what's going on, but I'm formally asking the board to authorize me to enter into negotiations and authorize me to accept on behalf of the county that devise, so that way he can process it on his end. So that way I can sign the appropriate paperwork and he can get that to where it needs to go. So, but I need board authorization to do that.
So if y'all remember back, that was the gentleman wants to leave 7 figures to the county on his behalf for the citizens to enjoy at some point in the future, some project, some building, some improvement or whatnot. At this time, he doesn't want his name made public. I'm hoping that will change so that, we can pay tribute to him for his kind donation at some point. But at this point, he wants to remain anonymous. And
Yes, sir.
I would say that we need to give Mr. Morrison the authority to do the proper paperwork so that the legalities of the giving of the gift can happen, which is money.
Yes, sir, but he's going to need paperwork on his side.
So I think you're asking for authorization for you to facilitate
Yes,
that
sir.
with him.
And execute it as agent of the county with full authority.
I don't think that he would have any problem for Mr. Morrison to telling you guys his name privately. I just don't think he doesn't want his name mentioned publicly.
Yes, sir. So,
Motion?
I need a motion, or he needs a motion.
yeah. So,
I have a motion by Commissioner Perkins.
Second.
Second by Commissioner White. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secondly, the board will recall a couple of meetings back, the board passed and authorized leasing 3 front load garbage trucks and also some grapple trucks. We've executed the paperwork for that, but for some reason the lessor is requiring a resolution reflecting the minutes. So this is just a resolution which they're requiring, which in short says that the board has determined that the lease is necessary. So I've reviewed as to form, they're both fine, and the board's already authorized execution of the paperwork. So I've got a resolution for both the load garbage trucks as well as the grapple trucks, which will need to be executed. And I'd ask the board to authorize the chairman to execute that resolution so that way, execute both of those resolutions so that way we can send those on for processing to the lessor.
Any questions for Mr. Morrison on that item? Or do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion by Commissioner White.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
That's all I have. The rest will be under general business, Mr. Chairman.
Fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next item on the agenda is consultant items. Any consultants present wishing to speak? I see some, but they're not wanting to speak. So we'll go to number 9, general business. Discuss with possible board action preliminary and final plat approval of the Pine Manor subdivision. Mr. Meeks. It's number 9.
Mr. Chairman, board members, you have an application that's been submitted for a minor subdivision through the county. So the process is that the board gives preliminary and final in one action. The request is for subdivision proposes 2 lots that are located at the intersection of 104th Street and 161st Road. The size of the lots are 5.01 acres, and the total land area in the subdivision is 10.02 acres. Zoning on the property is agricultural 1, which has a density of 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres. So the lots will comply with the buildability that is required of that district. The plat has been reviewed and found to be in compliance with Chapter 177 Florida statutes. It's been reviewed and signed off by another surveyor, and it is in compliance with the county's land development regulations. So at this time, we would recommend approval of the plat, and Eric has a copy of the plat for the chairman's signature if the board so chooses to approve the request.
You got 3 lots there, 5.48, 5.48, and 8.36. You said 3 5-acre lots, I thought.
It's 2 5-acre lots.
2 5s and then it's not a part. I see.
Not a part of it. That's where you actually get the.
I got you.
it's necessary to file the plat because there's already been a separate division off the property.
I got you. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Meeks on that division? Or do I have a motion to approve? No questions for Mr. Meeks.
So moved.
A motion to approve by Commissioner White.
Second.
I'm going to go with Commissioner Hale. Okay. Have a second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Meeks. Moving along, the next item on the agenda is item number 10. Discuss with possible board action the North Florida Water Utilities Authority. Commissioner Hale.
Yes, sir.
Item 10.
Thank you, sir. And
Yes, sir.
I had just a few questions, and we were going to talk about this last meeting, but we had a very long meeting, and it wasn't on the agenda to discuss, so I asked to be on here this evening. And I see a couple of folks here that can maybe help assist and answer some of these questions. And these are in no particular order. And again, this is just questions I had, and maybe the board may have some input as well. But I'll start with number one. It's something I did speak to Mr. Scott about this today. But the current work we haven't performed at the Catalyst site out there, that grant funding and the work that's going on, how would that proceed moving forward if we enter into this agreement with the utilities board? Would we still oversee that, the county, or would that board?
Still our project.
Still our project until it's done, until it's finished. Okay, all right, that was one of the things I was wondering there. And again, these are in no particular order. Number two I had here, I know we have some folks that we are contracted with that currently do testing and things that have to be reported to EPA and all that daily. How would we handle those contracts, and would those folks maybe be picked up by the board? I don't know if there's been any discussion on that through y'all's board, through the utilities board or not.
There has not.
Okay.
The agreement we have with the company is they understood from day one that we're looking at entering into agreement with the utility, and they've been even at some of the meetings we've had and understand that agreement could go away. It's really not a formal contract where we're bound to keep them on board. It could be terminated just with notice.
I got you. Okay. Well, that's good to know. The other thing I was asking was, and I guess this would probably be a two-part thing. As far as the money we divvy in, what we equally put in or not equally put in, I know some discussion when the board first started talking about, getting with Columbia and putting a utilities board together, it was based on the demand, maybe the customer base or something. So I guess it would really probably be based on that rate study. And I don't think have we got that back yet?
No.
We have not. And that was a big thing right there is how, and again, I'm sure y'all have had conversation. I was just asking for clarification. When that study comes back, has there been any talk of percentage versus percentage being put in the kitty, if you will?
Commissioner White.
I'll try to answer that.
Yeah, please. I know I'm looking at you because you're on that board.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could have looked at Mobley down there.
When we started this, it was supposed to be shared based on size of their particular utilities versus our particular utilities. We have not worked that formula out as far as I know yet, and we have a meeting tomorrow to possibly hire Mr. Shannon there to run that utility, and that's going to be a lot of his work right there is to get all this going in the right direction. And right now, we just got 2 counties and some board members, and there's no staff, and there's nobody to do a lot of this, so that is why we've got to hire somebody to get started on this, to move this utility forward.
So you brought up 2 other points there. I know one time we had talked to another county. I won't mention them, but we got any other counties that are wanting to be part of this utility
Not
board?
formally that I have know of.
Okay.
I mean, there's some discussions going on with other towns, municipalities, but nothing formal yet.
Gotcha. And the last thing I had was, and you mentioned talking about Shannon, and this is kind of back towards Greg, and this is just for the public knowledge because I've been asked, well, if you get rid of him, who's taking his place? Who's going to step in and take that paperwork over and run with it?
Shannon has been talking since January about how we transition. We have other grant writers available that we could tap into, both the through agreement we have with Liberty Partners. We've got agreements with our engineering firms that can write grants. Jason will be overseeing the projects to move them forward, project management and such. We've got consultants we can utilize to streamline those projects. And we feel very confident that, let me make sure we're clear. Shannon will be missed. In the interim, Shannon will be helping the utility, some in Columbia County, some in Suwannee County still. So Shannon's available, will be available to continue helping us get through the transition. There's not a set day of that, kick him out the door. But I feel very confident that between Shannon's help continuing on through the utility and also the staff we have in place and the contractors, we can make things happen. Not really concerned at all with that. Again, Shannon's done a great job for us. Appreciate what he's done. I don't want to say we're not going to miss him, but sometimes he's silly and we like to laugh sometimes. So it's good, especially when he's got his cane and hobbling
What's
around.
he got a cane for?
In case he was getting beat up tonight.
Oh, gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, Shannon may want to share some more things. And if the commission's got any other questions, he's prepared.
Yeah, I was going to do like I normally do and just ask the board if they had any other questions, and then open it up for the public if any of them have any questions, and then then we start asking the folks that got some of the answers to help us answer some of those. So, any other board members have any questions? Mr. Hale, are you good for now?
Yeah, that was really it. My biggest thing was just making sure, and again, we got two very more than responsible people on that board that represent us, and I'm talking about Commissioner White and Mobley. And again, maybe just a little more, I'll put a little pressure back on myself. Should have been asking for more updates along the way, just to see where that board was at and what you guys were doing. And but it didn't get real to me until I realized y'all were about to snatch Shannon out of here.
Well, and I apologize.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have updated y'all more on that. But when you go to these meetings and you do it all the time,
Yeah.
you're just in the middle of it and you don't think about coming back here and doing it all over again. So that's my bad, and maybe I should have done it more.
But yeah, that's all I had.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, maybe I missed it, but can we get a little bit more clarity on the benefits of Suwannee County and Columbia County, the benefits of joining this? I know we're looking down the road to benefit the county. So can we open it up a little bit so everybody understand and know what the
benefit of former
benefits and gist
utility
of
is?
of time needs to
Commissioner White?
If you will, Shannon put together a little something today, some bullet points and stuff. Let him, if you will, entertain that. Let him speak, and I think maybe that answers a good many questions. If it doesn't, I'll try to answer the rest.
Shannon, can you hobble up here?
I sure can. Just take a second.
Take your time.
It's not going anywhere. As long as it stays still, I'll be fine. Let me say, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. White, thank you. I've got some things to share. I think there's been some great questions that I've asked that have surfaced. So I'm just going to run through some things. And to Mr. Perkins' question, I'm going to get to that. There's a section where I'll talk about that. But I'm grateful to be here. It's a good start of a discussion. I'm sure there may be more questions, and we can deal with that as we get to it. So I've kind of got 5 areas, and I've kind of put them under questions. So the first question is, I know it wasn't raised here, but it's been raised in previous places, so we'll just get to it, is why is the North Florida water utility appeared so disjointed, slow, and effective? Well, simply put, we haven't made some of the decisions we need to make in the right way. And it's created some confusion and it's created some delay. We've been working with 15 volunteers who have a full-time job and a full plate of projects on their own, donating time as they can to manage 4 different consultants to get things done. And that just doesn't work. The executive director role probably should have been filled earlier because that individual can help drive that progress. It didn't get done, but it's being done now. So the authority isn't going to shrink away from the fact that it needs to move forward. It'll put the right folks place in and move forward. And as you know, that I think that role is going to help create a lot of coordination that's been missing in communication. Because frankly, there's been questions asked and we haven't really had the right information to share. So I think that's going to be a great thing going forward.
Every ship needs a captain.
Yes, sir. That is true. The next one is why is a entity like North Florida Water Utility Authority even necessary? Why do you need a regional thing? Well, the simple answer is it's easier to manage the state water resources from a regional perspective than it is to try and manage all the individual relationships with the counties, the cities, and the towns underneath it. So let me go a little further by that. In Florida Statute 373, the state has set forth a management framework for water resources, and that pushes through DEP into the water districts. And that particular statute has been pushing the districts and the agency to set policy and objectives to operate better, more efficiently, and more effectively. Well, here's the challenge. Let's take a look at the Suwannee River Water Management District. Here's some facts about this. It's 7,640 square miles. It covers 15 counties. It has 360,000 people sitting on top of that particular part of the Floridan aquifer, which is one of the most productive water aquifers on the planet. How do you manage all of that when you're trying to do things one-to-one? The answer is you can't. So what has been happening in the water management districts is they have been working closer and preferring to support regional utilities. If I could draw a line from Duval County into Clay County and then bend that line over to Alachua and then take that line and run it all the way over to Tallahassee, you would have this big giant gap where there is no regional utility at all until the North Florida Water Utility was created to help that. Why is it important? These regional utilities are receiving the funding. In time, the DEP funding will shift to a regional perspective because it's a relationship with one entity that has a relationship with many underneath it. It's a more effective way to manage the funding. The other piece is from a long-term perspective, there are entities that are seeking to interact with and partner with a utility in our North Central Florida region. The most current example is this. Over on the East Coast in Duval and in Clay County, they have a lot of development. They're pulling a lot of water out of the ground. They're growing like gangbusters, and they're running into consumptive use permit limits. So DEP says you can only pull so much water out of the ground and then you're capped. Well, on the East Coast, they're reaching their limits. And the way to fix that is to take purified water and inject it back in the aquifer. And they can do it there. But the problem is it's not the right spot. The water management district doesn't give them a good return on their water injection investment in that part of the state. So guess where the best place is to inject water in the Floridan aquifer? Suwannee and Columbia County. So the utility authorities over there are wanting to partner long-term with the North Florida Regional Water Utility as an entity in this gap and also sitting on top of the best injection spot. They want to create a project where water can be brought here into the county somewhere and then directly injected into the aquifer to, when water goes in, it allows you to bring more water out. That's a great thing because it helps their consumptive use permits. It lets them raise, but we also get the benefit of that too. We also are we'll be able to get more as we grow. And to me, one of the best benefits to this altogether is when we inject water into the aquifer, the counties, our counties plus the ones around us, there's so much farming done here that folks don't realize. The more we put down, more water we can put into the ground that's pure, right into the aquifer, it ensures that our farmers have water. So we need the partnership long-term and a long-term strategy to bring those types of things to our area, and the utility authority can do that for us. That was a mouthful right there. That was a whole lot about why would you want a utility authority. Now let me talk about something that I think everybody's concerned about is how does the utility authority save money for the county? Now I'm going to say some things here. I'm just trying to be straightforward. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. But both counties, their utilities are in a situation where their expenses far outpace the utility revenues. So what I would say financially, their model, usually your revenue is higher than your expense. You're making money. Well, in this case, they're inverted. So the model's been flipped. So each county has been subsidizing its utilities with taxpayer money from its general funds. And it's been happening for years. And it will continue to happen until all the utilities in the county grow, and then those utilities generate more and more revenue, so that revenue gets up to where expenses are. I don't know how long it will take. I know it takes a long time to bring customers in, new customers on. I would estimate potentially between 10 to 20 years, maybe faster depending on how growth happens. So what that means is counties have a choice to continue to invest more general fund money into that revenue, into that utility, even though the financial model's upside down, and they need to continue doing that for 10 to 20 years, or they can simply become a member of the North Florida Water Utility Authority, like Suwannee and Columbia already are, and they will transfer those assets and liabilities to the authority, who will run them long term. At that point, when those assets are transferred, the taxpayers in Suwannee County are no longer paying for the utility service out of the general fund. At that point, the only individuals paying for a utility are those connected to and using the utility. That's a pretty good model where you take all of that and you move it. That's how it saves money. So based on some analysis of five-year analysis of financial actuals for Suwannee County, it would save potentially about $325,000 a year for every year after you give it to the utility authority. What I'm saying is you've been investing your expenses and everything. It's costing the county about $325,000 a year on average. And that money's just going to keep stacking up until you either hit a revenue point where you've got enough customers to cover it, or you transfer it. So the utility authority is an option to do that. Now, that's a lot of money. So I think this board and previous boards recognize that this financial model for the utilities was upside down, and you were looking for an opportunity to say, we either going to get into this business and run it long term, or we're going to see if we can do something else. When the utility was formed, that became the way to do something else. That's how the counties will save money. And both counties are essentially in the same boat. There's a little bit order of magnitude difference. We're certainly losing money on it. Columbia is, but at a much greater rate. And the way for the county to save that is to pass that on to the authority. The authority can take those assets and those liabilities. The authority has the ability to fund itself through rates and also borrowing, where it can play a long-term game of stretching that out till the utility revenues rise, but one of the benefits of the utility authority is it can use its resources to lower the expenses as well, as it spreads out resources to apply to each county or each area it's got. An individual county doesn't have the ability to do that on its own, but the utility authority does. So they can shrink expenses that way, which makes it probably get to the revenue piece of where they want a little easier. So that's how they save money. Two more things, real quick. I think this has been a question that's come up. Is the utility authority going to compete or collaborate with the county boards? The utility authority has to collaborate, intensely collaborate. And the reason I say that is both the utility authority and the boards have a mutual interest to see economic growth happen. So when economic growth happens, the county gets the ad valorem revenue from that. So you need infrastructure to make that happen. So the utility authority would have a vested interest to supply infrastructure to enable business growth. The county gets the ad valorem revenue, but the utility revenue from the use of those things, that would go over to the utility. So there's a built-in mutual benefit. I think a great example of that is the Suwannee Valley Electric Co-op. Mike McWaters and his team serves 4 counties. I don't know of a single economic development project in this county where the Mike and his team have let us down with refusing to or not having infrastructure delivered to support a project. A great example is TrueLeave. They made some significant investments to make sure TrueLeave had power, and they did it. It would be my intention, if I get through tomorrow favorably, is to pattern our relationship and to take an approach that Suwannee Valley Electric has. Cultivate deep relationships, understand what the needs are, and do that for both counties. The last thing that I would point out is if we're going to collaborate and do that well, the other piece we've got to focus on is how does the utility authority protect against political favoritism among the counties? That's been a question that surfaced. Fair question. From its very inception, the utility board has always talked about trying to depoliticize the utility, and they look at it from a perspective of the more political, the higher the level of politicization within the utility, it actually causes it to fail. It impedes the board from making the best decision or the right decision for the utility authority. So there's been talk from the very beginning of how to change the composition of the utility board. Right now, it's 1 private citizen and 4 commissioners. There's been discussions about potentially making a change to the board sometime during this calendar year, maybe later in the year, to include 3 private citizens and 2 county commissioners, 1 from each county. So that changes the mixture of the board, where you have, each county still has a representative that's on its board, but then there's 3 private individuals too. So that creates a potential of counteracting favoritism or politics on the board. And at some point in the future, there are utility authorities that do not have any politicians or commissioners on their boards. They're just complete private citizens. And some, once you hit a certain size, the state government will appoint somebody to serve on your board. So I think those are ways where that helps cut down on the favoritism. So I've said a lot. I've talked about, we got a rough start. I talked about why would you want a regional utility at all anyway. Talked about saving money. I talked about making sure that they're collaborating with the counties. And then the last thing was, making sure we can reduce the politics, to make the best decisions for the citizens and the customers.
Thank you, Shannon. Any board members have any questions for Shannon while he's up there? There may be some come up later.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, we've got Mr. Rocky Ford's here from Columbia County.
Yeah, I'll let, which one of you guys want to come up and kind of shed your perspective? How about that? Shed your perspective on why Columbia County wanted to do this as well.
So I'm Rocky Ford, County Commissioner, Columbia County, also the chairman of the Utility Authority Board. So what Shannon said is absolutely correct. Right from the start, matter of fact, I've talked to you about it before we ever formed this committee. Our goal is to take politics out of utilities. That's the only way utilities really work, is take politics out of it. So at some point, I would like to see this board with no commissioners on it, just independent board. That's how most of them are set up. Or with independent board with one person elected by the governor. That's how a lot of them are set up. That might be the way this one ends up. But, you know, you got to get to that point. You got to get it operating, you got to get it running, you got to get it to that point. All decisions we made, I agree, haven't been the best decisions. But we're learning also. This is the first time we've done this too. We're trying to do this and we're listening to different ones. But I really do believe we are on the right track right now. We're making a lot of headway. And I think probably by the end of this fiscal year, you'll see an operating utility authority. So I think we're to that point pretty much. So talk about the advantages of it. If y'all were at that stakeholder meeting the other day, y'all heard DEP, you heard Suwannee Water Management talk about regionalization. They're looking at regional projects. Commissioner White made a good point at that meeting. You can't look at county lines. You got to look at where the utility needs to be, tying the utilities together. I mean, if we got a plant right at, let's say 4 miles in from the west side of Columbia County, or y'all have a plant like in Welborn, it makes sense to bring that utility into Columbia County to serve the customers in Columbia County. And that's the benefit of doing this. And I will tell you, I honestly believe, and Commissioner White said a while ago, we don't have any county right now saying, yes, sir, we're going to join your utility. But we sure have a lot of them talking about it and coming to us and asking questions, and they're looking at it. And they definitely have interest in it. And I believe before it's said and done, you'll have some of these counties see the benefit of it, or they see the benefit now, but I think they'll take advantage of it. So,
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, I mean, these plants, these sewer plants are so expensive to build. It makes no sense when Suwannee has one right on your county line in White Springs, and you got 2 RV parks sitting right there on well and septic within 2 miles of the Suwannee River. Without this utility, Columbia's got to build their own sewer plant to pick those people up. If you have this utility, there's ways where you can, you know, and that saves money, but it's a higher and better use of the plants that are there.
Taxpayer money also.
Taxpayer money.
Yeah. I mean, right now, we give you a letter of support for adding some campgrounds that's in in Columbia County, over up by the 136 exit up there. So, you know, that's the beauty of working together and having a utility like here. And, you know, like I said, I agree with Shannon, agree with all y'all. It's been a rocky start, but, you know, everybody's trying to learn, and we finally got some good information from some different ones, and brought some people in to speak, and this has really helped us a lot. Jeremy over at the Clay County Utility Authority, he has been a great help and great source of information here recently. Bobby Payne has really brought some good information to us. So I think we're really operating. I think we're really moving forward at this point. So.
Well, and one more thing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. White.
When the Clay County guy got up and talked about, and of course their utility's huge. I mean, it's way bigger than ours, but at some point our utilities will probably not be that big, but it'll be a good size utility at some point. They have a revenue sharing part of that deal in their utility where I think it's 4%.
4%, yeah.
4% goes back to the counties. above their expenses, so.
Like a co-op.
Yeah, and it comes back to your general revenue fund. Unlike if you own your own utility, you can't use those funds for anything else. But if you're in this utility and they set it up this way, you get that revenue sharing back to the county, goes in your general fund, and it's used.
Unrestricted
around the county,
revenue.
Unrestricted.
Yep.
So, just another little point.
Yep. So,
I don't know when we get there, but.
You'll never get there if you don't
I
start.
do appreciate, I appreciate Suwannee County joining the utility and what they're being a part of the utility. And I really do believe it's a move in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner Ford. Yeah, Commissioner Ford.
I appreciate you getting up here. He can do a lot of things, but drive a race car is not one of them.
Hey, I set one up pretty good though, right?
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned about having a state representative on that board, and I think, Shannon, you had mentioned that to me too in a conversation, me trying to gather information. But at what point is that based on, when you get that large, is that just based on how many counties there are, how many users, all the above? What makes that determination that you get to that point? And when does that board grow? As other counties come on, you add those?
So it's really how you set the board up. So you can set it up with legislative appropriation or utility, and that's one thing we're going to have to decide in the very near future. And if you do it through the legislative, then the governor will appoint one member of that board. But if you set it up as an independent utility, then the commissioners in Suwannee County and Columbia County can, they'll appoint everybody. So, but from what I'm hearing and looking into right now, it might be an advantage for us to go through the legislative process to set it up. I think it might open up some other avenues for us to be profitable, get money through or
grants or something like that. Sure,
yeah.
I understand.
But that's a decision we're going to have to make. But if the governor appoints one, it's just according to how we move the utility forward in the future. So.
Well, and I'll tell you guys, I don't want to be in the utility business as a county, I don't think. I mean, as some of the horror stories I've read and seen, neighboring counties and things that y'all have dealt with, but I guess my other question would go back to one of the first questions is, do we know when that rate study is going to be here and what that's going to look like? And my other question, Shannon, you mentioned, we're paying $325 a year. What is it going to cost us as we move forward and get out of it? And for how many years before we don't pay $320, when it don't cost us $325 a year, something of that nature. Which I know that's hypothetical based on usage and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while Shannon gets over, I will just say one thing. We're a lot stronger united than we are by ourselves.
Sure.
To the point about the Raftellus study, I don't know what that time frame is, but I will be finding out.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is a lot of documentation was sent over. I've gotten feedback that some of it's incorrect. So if I ask them how long, they're going to say, when are you going to get me corrected stuff? So we have to sort that out. I will say from a business plan perspective, Bobby Payne will have a draft of the business plan sent in by the end of June. So that'll be one of the things that I'll have to review, work with him on, and determine, are we going to accept it as is? Do we want to change it? So the business plan should be done by June. I don't want to give you a time on Raftellus because I don't know, and I'd be making something up. But I do believe within another month, I will be able to come back and say, we think this. And that rate study and financial plan is absolutely key because it helps you understand if you want to cover your expenses, then this is what your rates need to be.
Right.
And then if you need to look at creating a capital fund by borrowing additional dollars where you leverage the value of these big assets, it'll tell us what we need to do that, and then maybe give us some recommendations on what might be necessary.
Good.
So great questions. I don't want to tell you something that I don't know, but I do want to commit to finding out and then coming back within the next month.
I would agree with what you said. I would think that rate study kind of is the tell-all.
It's a very key piece because that's I hate to say it this way, but it is the financial guts of everything. Everything rests on what that is, what it says for both counties and everything. And if we add new entities, guess what we have to do? Go back and recompute that piece, because we've added expense and revenue, and now everything may or may not be true again. So we're going to have to refactor that every time we grow and change. It would be the smart thing to do so that you know what numbers you can count on.
That's right. That's right. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Mr. Hancock, I have a comment card here that I know you wanted to speak on item number 10. You want to make your way to the podium, and any other public after Mr. Hancock gets done, any other members from the public, we'll circle back around to that. Name and address, please, sir.
Wayne Hancock, 11883 93rd Road, Live Oak. I know I'm probably not going to make a lot of friends tonight, but I've been standing here for 6 months doing good news about what's going on in this county and what's the positive things that are going on. I don't think this is one of them, but that's just my opinion. All I would ask that you just listen with an open mind. I have looked at numbers. Shannon, and your contract rec list is due in August, but that's what their contract says, is due by August. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing it. Mr. White and I met 5 months ago when this was all starting to take full steam ahead. When I walked out of his office, I was like, I'm still not convinced. So that's when I really got, and he asked me, why didn't you say something in the beginning when we were first talking about this? And my answer to that is, I didn't know enough. And I didn't understand it. Now I do. And now I don't like it. The only revenue that the authority has is what Suwannee and Columbia County give them. So they rapidly ate through the $500,000 that they already have. Sure, they're going to ask for more. And not to pick on any single person here tonight, but I've asked, do you have a business plan? No. Do you have a strategic plan? No. And the last I was told, the business plan will be done with the right study. So that's August. So you're all businessmen sitting up here. Would you invest $500,000 in a company that doesn't have a track record, no business plan, no strategic plan, no customers, no assets, no funding other than from you? I don't think you would. And that's basically what you're doing. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I know we have to have facilities to bring businesses here. I 100% agree with that. However, we have been working on grants and gotten grants for our catalyst site and for water and utilities. And now that Shannon's going to be gone, and he's going to be gone because he already signed his contract. I didn't see that today. Unless you guys throw some wrench in the game, and I doubt that's going to happen. What do we do for grants? And I'm going to quote what Shannon said at his interview. Most grant writers get 1% to write the grant. And then they get 3 to 4% to manage it. So if you take the conservative 3% on the $36 million worth of grants we had last year, if we have to farm that out, it's going to cost us $1.5 million. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of grants that will allow you to charge that back to the grant. It would come out of our general fund. Excuse me. Commissioner Land, when you and I talked about this, you said, I don't want to be in the business. It'll cost us more money to run it ourselves than if we have someone else do it. I partially agree with that. And I'm going to give a solution at the end. I don't understand why this massive authority, which is going 900 miles an hour right now, I agree that we should cooperate with other counties, but we don't have to put everything in the bucket to cooperate. We could have signed an agreement that said, we'll do this to help you, you do this to help us. If we put a plan over here, you can attach here, here's what it's going to cost you. So I'm just not seeing numbers-wise how this is all going to work. If we put in $250,000 a year, 10 years, that's $2.5 million. That's $2.5 million that we won't recoup. Although, Mr. White, tonight's the first time I heard that larger authorities do give money back to the counties. But it's the first time I've heard that. It's certainly not in the agreement. I've read it over and over and over again.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's because the guy at Clay County just came last week, and that's when they got the information, so
Okay.
that's why I didn't say anything.
So, and I've heard that the equipment's in disrepair. Well, you guys all know me. I'm going to go check things. There's a whole packet over there of 6 months of stuff. And I don't like standing up here and just coming up here and saying, well, this is what I think. I'd rather have the facts. I'd rather put them in front of you, and then you decide what you're going to do. So I visited the sites. Fortunately, the water testing person happened to be at the one by White Springs, and she let me in. It looked brand new. I've never seen anything as well kept up. In my 50 years in construction, and I'm not a water and utilities guy. I'll tell you that right up front. But I do know what something that's not in repair looks compared to something that is in repair. That just comes because I've tapped into some things that didn't look pretty good. So I think we could have gone a different route without creating an authority, because I see it now as Columbia County is still trying to get their grants, we're trying to get our grants, and now the authority's trying to get another set of grants. So now we're competing against each other. Okay? Tell me why, Mr. White. You're shaking your head. I'm here just for discussion.
How are we going to be competing against one another?
Because now you got three entities competing for the same grant.
Separate entities.
Separate entities.
The state doesn't look at the utility as Suwannee County or Columbia County.
I agree with that.
It looks at it as a utility. So how are we competing?
You don't feel like that's going to hurt our chance for grants?
I absolutely think it's going to help.
Okay. I'm willing to say I'm wrong. But I'm also willing to say I think we're spending way too much money for something that we don't know it's going to work. I'll go back to, if you're a businessman, would you invest in this entity? Well, you're investing the counties, the people of the county, and Suwannee County's money. So I think it's a risky business. And I can go on and on and on and on. But the catalyst, I didn't get the numbers for the site off of 136, but the catalyst site loses about $62,000 a year. That's what the loss is, revenue versus income. So $62,000 a year doesn't sound too bad to me compared to $250 that we're putting into this. I don't see the return. I've not been told there is a return. All I hear is it's in the future. And I understand the future, and I get that. I just don't see why we're pumping so much money into something that we really don't know if it's going to work or not. Unlike a lot of people that stand up here and just complain, that's not me. I want to give you a solution. And you probably won't hear me, but I sat with Mr. Sessions last week and said, if the county came to you and said, we want you to run our water and sewer plants. Could the city of Live Oak do that? And his answer was, absolutely. Could you bill it and track everything and maintain it? Absolutely. We already do it. So I don't see a big entity that's going to help us. I do see the city of Live Oak trying to help us and working together with the city. So I'm just saying, let's try something else. The county, Columbia County, just hired Lake City to supply water to their catalyst site. So I don't see where it's all working real well right now. That's really all I have. I just feel like there are other options that are out there that we could have tried. We haven't, but this is an easy avenue to say, let's go give this to somebody else. In the meantime, we're spending a lot of money. And I'm sure none of you really thought about the grant money. That's $1.5 million a year that goes out of our pocket. Thank you, gentlemen.
$1.5 million a year. Where are you getting that number from?
From Shannon?
No, per year. How would grant money be reoccurring per year? Because once you get the grant, I mean, the grants allow a percentage of the grant to be used for grant writing. But once the grant is done, the plan is built, that reoccurring 1.5, I mean, the money spent for the grant writing, it's gone. No, you don't. How do you get, once the grant's been completed and the job's done, how would the 1.5 million be reoccurring every year? I'm just confused.
We get more grants every year. The year before
how do you know it's going to be 1.5 million every year?
Well, the year before it was 48 million. This year it was 36. I'm just basing it on what we did last year.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking for clarification on how 1.5 million is going to occur in perpetuity.
If we get at least another $36 million worth of grants per year, that's what it would be.
But it's all taxpayer dollars, right? All of it is, whether it's coming from the state, federal government, local government, general revenue, it's all taxpayer money, right? Mm-hmm. Can we agree on that?
I agree with that.
If you're paying a grant writer 2% of money, 2%, well, your 3% was your number, 3%, you're paying them with money you never had anyway. Would you agree to that?
You just made a statement that I was not aware of, that a grant writer can pull his fee out of the grant.
100%.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Okay, that's why I was like, man, I don't know what he's talking about, because I'm confused.
Now, if I flip that to a different switch, that's 1.5 million less we have in grants that year to use.
Hypothetically, you are correct.
To use.
Yes.
So if we use the grant writer,
but the percentage out of the grant. This is why I can't speak for the board. Personally, I'm for privatizing the grant writing, meaning using the grant money to let the grant writer do it. One, because I think we'll get it done a lot quicker, because that percentage, that 3% that you mentioned, comes with a whole team of people. Whereas I'm just going to use Suwannee County. I'm not talking bad about Shannon. Our grant writer is one man who's managing all of that.
I understand that.
And yeah, he may be cheaper, but he can't perform the work as quickly as, say, a grant writing firm with 30 people on staff, and we're paying them 3% of money we never had anyway. So when Mr. Hancock's up there fussing at me about projects ain't getting done, it's not really Shannon's fault, because Shannon's managing, what'd you say, $36 million worth of grants spread among 8 projects. That's a lot for one guy to be pushing and pushing and pushing. So when something lands on his desk, I would be the same way if I were you, Shannon, as well. It may not bounce right back off, because he's got another stack over here he's fighting as hard as he can fight with what he's got. But there again, Suwannee County, we don't have the money to go hire 3 Shannons to write those grants. So if we got $36 million and we're paying them 3% out of each one, we're paying one money never had. Now we start making Mr. Hancock happy because we're getting vertical quicker. which all the taxpayers should be happier, so all this stuff's getting built quicker, and we're using money we never had anyway, versus 3 Shannon sitting there. Now you're talking about in perpetuity, because I got to pay him every year forever, whether I got $36 million coming in or $5 million coming in. I got to pay 3 Shannons. So in my business, I'm privatizing it. I'm going to hire and pay people what they're good at doing and let them do it. And I get vertical and I get in business quicker versus I'm going to try to do this myself and I'm going to hire me 3 Shannons. Well, when I get done building buildings, what do I do with Shannon? In government, we don't fire people hardly. So now I got to keep firing. I got to keep paying Shannon, or I got to find something. I got to retitle his position, but he's still on there. I mean, I'm just kind of telling you my brain thought.
I disagree with you because I've stood up here before and say, you need a construction project manager. We don't have a person that's in charge of construction, and that's what makes the project slow.
We just did 3 design builds. We bid them as design builds, and we're getting away from, hey, we're going to hire an engineer to design it. Hey, we're going to go to bid.
I wonder who suggested that.
We just did 3 design build projects because we can get them done quicker with the builder and the engineer coming together as a team versus all these different subs on one project.
Mr. Fury, would you tell him who suggested that to you?
You provided some input, Mr. Henry.
Just got to take it where I can get it, because I'm not getting much tonight.
Well, I say, and the chairman's right, and you're right as well. I mean, and I think our track record in Suwannee County is really good when it comes to grants, and hats off to the team.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't. No
everybody.
Disrespect.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying, too. I think the 1 Shannon versus the team, as we grow and that demand and these grants keep piling up and these things that we're working towards to gain for our community, you're right. It's probably more than just Shannon can handle. I absolutely agree. And you're right. As we grow and things get larger, we need more folks to oversee these projects to move them along faster, as Mr. Hancock said, to see some progress going on. Right. I mean, there's a lot of rights in here tonight.
Right.
I agree with all of y'all, but yeah.
And so, I don't know how I always get in front of the train, but somehow I always end up in front of the train. But I'm going to speak to your point about the city of Live Oak running that. And I see Mr. Sessions is waiting there. Here's what I don't like about your idea with the city running it.
Okay.
Because at the end of and it's no disrespect for the city. It could be the city of Brantford. It could be city of Lake City going to run our utilities. Where is my regional recharge and where are my DEPs? Where is my state money going to go when I'm still little old Suwannee County and I'm still out building my stuff? That model, I'm still inverted, and I'm inverted for a long time. When I add Columbia, yeah, I'm still inverted, but I'm adding a lot more assets quicker. Those assets, so I'm diversifying my assets that hopefully will increase my revenue return much faster than me sitting here trying to build the ark by myself. Yeah, one day it gets me to my break-even point a hell of a lot quicker with more people on my team than me sitting here trying to do it myself.
In 10 to 20 years.
It could be 10 to 15 if we partner.
Okay, we'll make it shorter. So we'll spend $4 million instead of $5 million.
It's like I've always said, it's an investment.
But anyway, I respectfully appreciate your opinion. I'm just saying, we talked on the phone too.
I'm just looking at the numbers. If I look at the numbers, it doesn't look great.
And Mr. Chairman, I agree
if I could invest in this utility myself, I'd do it because my grandkids would be happy one day. I guarantee you that. There's a reason why Warren Buffett buys utility companies. There's a reason why he does it.
I got a bridge I want to sell you.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear you invite the city to join the utility bill?
If they would like to join, sure. Mr. Sessions, you've been standing there for a minute. Welcome, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Haneke. If you're not done,
gentlemen.
Yes, sir. If you're not done, I'm not cutting you off. I'm
just want to make my point.
Appreciate your opinion.
You all saw what I put out there. If you ask 10 people, do you know what North Florida Water Utilities is? 9 will say no.
I understand.
So if nothing else, at least some of the people know what's going on.
Amen.
Thank you.
The more informed society is, especially the electorate, the better off we all are. Mr. Sessions.
Larry Sessions, 4377 72nd Street in Live Oak. Mr. Hanica came to my office last week, I believe it was Wednesday, and he asked me a specific question. Could we handle testing? And I said, yes, we could. When it comes to utility of a larger size, no, the city can't handle all of that. In a small scale, we can, we're making it right now. But as you all know, the city of Live Oak struggles with money and employees and everything else at this point, but mostly infrastructure and plumbing and roads and everything else. So I answered the question specifically to Mr. Hanica that yes, we probably could handle stuff locally, but if it gets bigger, no, I know I can't. But I'm here just to let you know that the city wants to work with the county any way it can. And I know that Greg and his team, ever since I've been in office, has treated me exactly the same. I don't feel like the redheaded stepchild that, the city, I think, used to be, okay? Now, I have a couple suggestions. I sit on a couple of boards that has to do with water, and it's very important to me. Our aquifer is very important to me. And I can see this utility, if it gets off the ground, having about 10 counties in it, give it a little bit of clout in Tallahassee. Because right now there's 67 counties and probably 400 entities in the state that goes to Tallahassee every year and asks for money. And can you imagine that Office of Appropriations dealing with all those people and all those asks? But like everybody talked about, things are going regionally. And if you got 10 regions asking for something in Tallahassee, there's a lot less people up there asking. There's a lot less paperwork passing back and forth and everything else, and a lot less to look at as far as appropriations go. So let's just say we made a utility that's got Suwannee, Columbia, Hamilton, Madison, Taylor, Lafayette, Gilchrist, Union, Dixie, and Baker, that's 10. And that's that little niche between Duval County and Tallahassee. And we are all collectively sitting on that aquifer. And we all benefit from it because a lot of these are farmlands, okay, that we need this. So I'm going to give you a couple other numbers about water. Every day, the city of Jacksonville or that area pulls out 324 million gallons of water out of the ground every day. We pull about 137. 90% of what we pull out of the ground is for farming. Most of what's pulled out in Jacksonville is for flushing toilets, washing cars, doing things like that. And I've been talking this for the last 4 or 5 years, and I really feel like that over there on the coast, they talk about saltwater intrusion, they talk about high sea level rise and things like that. They should build a desalination plant. And if they only pulled 100 million gallons a day out of the ocean, that would double what we have over here to farm with and to, help promote what we do here in this area and actually save the aquifer, because right now the DEP is concerned about minimum flows and levels in the Suwannee and the Santa Fe and the Tuckney. Well, if you used 100 million less gallons a day that was sucked out from the east, the minimum flows and levels would all rise, and the springs would be healthier, and the rivers would have more water in them. So everybody talks about, well, it's too expensive to desalinate, but at what point is it too expensive? So over here, what are we at, 9 or 9.5 mils?
9.
9.
So we don't have very far to go. We can't really raise a mill to do much. Over there, it's about 5.5. They can raise a mill pretty easy. And over here, mill's what, 2 million now? Over there, it's probably about 200 million. So they have the ability to build desalination plants to take the pressure off of us. And they can still take the reclaimed water and inject back into the aquifer also. But that 100 million a day that they desalinate for flushing cars and washing, or flushing toilets and washing cars, that's a better use to me. So I'll get off my soapbox. I think there is strength in numbers.
I think if you're going to have this utility, you probably need to make it bigger. But I think that in the end, combining forces, just like the city and the county, we try to work together on some things. I think we're all going to be better. And Mr. Wayne, no disrespect to you, because I know you look at the numbers too, and you have your ideas about it. Locally, right here, yes, the city can handle things, but regionally, I don't believe I can. And there's a lot of private contractors out there that are already doing the work in the counties that, you know, they may lose their jobs even. So pay attention to the local people that are doing the jobs when you move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Sessions. Sorry. Mr. Ford.
Chairman, I just want to add a couple of things. One one thing Mr. Honecker said is the only money the utility will have is what it gets from Suwannee and Columbia County. I think he's leaving the customer base out. And in the future, the customer base is where that money's going to come from. And some of it's going to come from starting as soon as we take over the billing, as soon as the utilities takes over the billing, and we have the rate study done. So as far as the county's funding the utility, I heard Shannon say $325 a while ago, what Suwannee County's paying just the catalyst site. That's what it so basically, the utility survives by adding customers. So that's one thing I wanted to answer Mr. Hale. You know, we're going to be trying to add customers. So every opportunity we have to add customers to this utility, we're going to be trying to run sewer to it, or if it takes loans or grants or whatever. So the survival of the utility is the customer base. That's what the survival is. And the second thing I want to respond to, this is not the first utility that's ever happened in Florida. There's several utilities already operating in Florida. We're not reinventing the wheel here. This is not something that hasn't already been done. And we're just trying to get off the ground and get this one started. So, like I said a while ago, talking to other utilities already operating and getting advice from them how to get started. We're getting a lot of advice right now, and we're getting a lot of information. And I think Shannon alluded to that a while ago. You know, we're not recreating the wheel. We're trying to follow in other people's footsteps that have already done this. And you know, I don't know it all. I don't know a whole lot about utilities. If we was laying sewer pipe, I could tell you how to do it. If we was laying water pipe, I can tell you how to do it. I've laid miles and miles of water pipe and sewer pipe. But as far as operating and running a utility, I've never done it. But one thing I will say, I don't know what it's going to cost to do it, but whatever that cost is, it will be less us doing it together. And that's a fact.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Welcome, sir. Name and address for the record.
Richard Snyder, 29th Road, Branford. I just have a weird question because I happen to live between Branford and Fort White. Branford has some type of sewer and water and all that, and Fort White is in the process of getting and building. They got a grant and everything. Is the intention for this utility to pull those things into it or be offered to pull them into it as part of that? Because like the one that's being designed for Fort White is being designed to be able to go long-term outside of the city. So
I don't sit on that board, so I'll let Commissioner White or Mr. Ford that do sit on the board respond to that.
I would love to have them both in the utility. The more, the merrier. And not only that, my long-term goal, there's a lot of money out here for septic to sewer. I would like to see all along the river, the Santa Fe, the Itchtuckney, there's a lot of people that live there.
Three Rivers.
Three Rivers, you got all those people down there. I would love to see all of that converted to sewer at some point. And with this utility working together, I believe that can happen. I don't know how long that takes to get it done.
Oh, it's a lot of work, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a long-term deal, but I can almost assure you the state, and I'm sure the water management would be behind it as well to get that done. So,
okay. But that would go to your guys' planning that you're talking about, where like if you have something right near a county line, you can just cut over the line and move.
But I can't go hold a gun to their head and make them join the utility. It has to be on their they're wanting to do it.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to know what the intention was.
Yes, I would love to have
Yeah,
it.
because it
Yeah.
makes it easier on them too. Just like
Yeah.
you guys don't want to run it, they don't want to run it either.
That's right.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Kraus.
David Kraus, 338 Southwest Lakeview Avenue, Lake City. I wasn't going to say anything, I just want to make it real clear. The authority is not in competition with the counties. It actually supplements what the county can do in terms of getting grant funds, in terms of getting outside funds, in terms of qualifying for funds that the counties may not be able to qualify for. I guess the best examples I can give you is the last legislative session. If the budget ever gets adopted, Suwannee County applied for legislative appropriations. Columbia County applied for legislative appropriations. And the authority also applied for legislative appropriations in both counties. So there is a possibility that more projects will get done by having the authority, and it's not necessarily in competition with the counties.
That's right. Thank you, sir. Name and address.
John Van Vliet, 20671 County Road 137. A lot of information tonight. So I had never heard of injecting water into the aquifer before. That's brand new to me. But a lot of Florida history that I've known for the last 50-some years I lived here. What has happened to the Everglades, man-made ideas, ruined a lot of stuff. What happened to the Indian River, got all messed up from a lot of engineering problems. I just learned about the history of the White Springs. White Springs used to be the tourist capital of the country. And what happened to it? What I hear is more engineering and pulling water out and messed up the spring. So I don't know if that board would consider all of those things, because I don't really want to have any kind of water injected into the aquifer. I see too many problems with that. So, and I don't know if the people, I never even heard of that. So I don't know if any of the people know that, but that would be great if your board would address that with the people, so the people could have understanding of all that as well. So I don't know how you can get more information out to the people, because most of the people don't know a lot of this stuff.
I think injecting water into the aquifer is many, many years away, I would say. Would y'all agree or disagree to that?
Well, it has to be drinking quality water that's injected.
Yeah.
It can't just be raw
Correct.
water injected into the aquifer.
I would imagine.
There's go-away wells right here in the city of Live Oak where water runoff is going straight into the aquifer. So, I mean, water going directly to the aquifer in a man-made pipe is happening right here today.
Yeah. Well,
in other ways I've seen them do that is they'll redirect that water to maybe a lake or a pond that's dried up, and then let the earth actually do its job as well.
Chairman, also there, there's that the poultry plant Gold is that they do run through their DEF tanks down to the clarifier, and they go back into the river at 97% clear water. So they dump that into the river. They've been doing that ever since the plant been there.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Third trip's a charm.
Pardon?
Third trip's a charm.
Oh, okay. This is on this.
Name and address.
This is on this issue. Bo Hancock, 6135 Wiggins Road. Okay, you're going to re-inject purified water, reuse water, drinking quality water. Something happens. That water gets polluted, and you're putting it in the aquifer. Who's going to clean it up? I mean, if it happens, worst case scenario. But look, as the gentleman mentioned, you look at the Everglades, South Florida, the engineering problems that engineering created that we're trying to fix now, years down the road. That's a concern. You can't, I don't think you could answer. We don't know what the heck's going to happen if it does. Politics. You're not going to get politics out of it. If it's independent, you're still not going to get politics out. If you make it so that the governor appoints people. Look at the hospital authority over in Lake City. You think the politics are out of that, and that's an independent authority. So you're not going to get the politics out, so you can quit talking about that. Now, what are you going to do if you have utilities, independent utilities out there owned by a city or municipality, are you going to force them in to this? If they're on their own, are you going to try and force them? Are you going to charge them something, a fee? I don't know the answer to that. If, you know, we've got, City of Live Oak has theirs, Brantford has their system, Wellborn has a water system. If they don't want to become part of this, what the heck are you going to do? You can't force them in, I don't think. Now, you talk about the rivers and the people along the waterways, getting them off the septic system. Good idea. You going to force them to hook up to your system and charge them a fee to hook up? Or are you just going to say, we'll hook it up for you at no charge. You just pay this monthly fee. Big issue you got to deal with, because when you start trying to mandate that people hook up to the water and the sewer, you're going to have a problem.
I think you're barking up the wrong tree with that one. I think that, I mean, August 1st, DEP's taking over septic permitting. There's a reason for that. The state is, like Commissioner White mentioned earlier, there's a big push in Tallahassee across the whole state of septic to sewer. So it ain't going to be the water utility that's saying, hey, you got to get rid of your septic tank, you got to hook our sewer. One day, maybe not in your lifetime, probably not in mine, but one day there's going to come a day when you're close to a waterway like the Suwannee River or at Suwannee, that DEP or the state's going to say, no, we're not renewing. But they got to renew their septic tanks every few years already with renewal inspections. There's going to come a day when the DEP says, no more. There's a line in front of your house, that septic tank that sits 75 feet off the Suwannee River, that ain't happening no more. That's done. We're not renewing that permit. You are hooking up to that. That day's coming. I'm not saying that I'm doing that, or I'm not saying I'll see that, but that day is coming. I promise.
So you're going to say DEP is going to be the one telling people they've got to hook up?
Agency in Tallahassee is going to stop renewing septic tanks along waterways. I guarantee.
What's going to stop the DEP from coming up and saying,
well, I don't want to say
North Florida Water Utility, look, you have got to put lines. You can't go in for a development here. You're going to have to commit all these funds that we're going to give you. You're going to put all this money into these lines adjacent to the rivers so they can do what you're just talking about. So government, that's what I'm telling you. You ain't going to get the politics out, so don't tell me.
We can damn sure try. And that's what we're doing.
We are going to agree to disagree on that. You will not get the politics out.
But we can still try. Mr. Perkins.
Mr. Chairman, there that in the city of Live Oak is that, and their LDRs, that if it's accessible at your house, then you have to connect to it, or you'll be charged for sewage or water if it comes near your property line. With Tallahassee is charging you, I mean, they're now putting in legislation that every 5 years that your septic tank has to be inspected, and they are getting worse and worse on their septic tank permits. And again, you say that going to DEP doing it. So it's going to make it available for people to use them. And I'm looking at, Mr. Hennick was saying also about the agreement, and I kind of looked at that as well. Rather than having a regional, to have a interlocal agreement between the different entities. I thought about that as well. But then I look at it as also is that to be able to get the funding you need, I think you're better fit to get it as a regional entity versus getting it on in a local agreement. In a local agreement, I think we'll work with, like we have the one there out at 75 and 136. Well, Columbia County could tie into it, and so on and so forth. And again, the young man talked about down at Fort White, they are putting in a system there. And I was going to ask the question earlier, are they going to tie into on the Suwannee County side if they tie into Three Rivers? When they tie in there, but then how would you do that? Because then the river is there. So, but anyway, I'm looking at it, and I think there is that in a local agreement will work fine, but I think it's for your best bang for the buck, you may be going with the regional to get those things when you look at all of the other aspects involved with it. So.
That's right. Thank you, Commissioner Perkins. Anybody else from the public? Name and address, please, sir.
Moses Klepper, 14581 102nd Path, Live Oak. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. You stole a little of my idea or something.
Great minds think alike.
Sir?
Great minds think alike.
This time.
That's scary.
As human. I think that's a safer route for now. When y'all first started talking about this, I said I like the idea. I still like the idea, but I think we're taking a great risk that's unnecessary. One of the things is we're going to, best I read in that agreement, is that we're going to surrender all the county-owned assets to this utilities. All right. Now, does anybody know the value of those? I mean, Mr. Hanica said he went out and said they're in good shape. But does anybody know a round figure of what those assets are worth?
I could probably figure that out, but sitting right here today, no, I haven't.
10 million, 20 million?
You're probably in the ballpark.
20.
20, okay.
Close.
So that's what we're taking, that's going to be taken from the taxpayers immediately, all right? We paid $20 million on, boom, it's gone.
Well,
right?
Most of those are all grants, but it's there again, still taxpayer money. That's right.
It's still sitting on Suwannee County property.
Yes, sir. But if, I don't know if it's worst case scenario, but a scenario, if the utility goes belly up, all right, we've got leverage, which Mr. Roberts said we're going to leverage these assets. All right. Has anybody thought that all the way through? Worst case scenario, it goes belly up. We've got $20 million in leveraged assets. Well, now we're paying interest on that $20 million. All right. It sounds like lumber mill again. Instead of $5 million, no, it's 20 this time. All right. The interlocal that man come up with, that's a safer route to start with. When I first said that I agree with, I like the idea, I still do. I see it. I see the big picture. Getting to that big picture is what I'm having a major problem with, the way it's being discussed happening right now. That 325 he's talking about immediately goes for Suwannee County to 425, 450. I don't know the exact number. All right, just in hiring one employee. All right, they're going to share half of it. And the way I got that figured, usage I think would probably be the best if y'all do this. Probably the most fair. But if we went by population, all right, we should only do about 39%. And these big shouldered guys should get about 61. And of course, living in this county, I'd go with the 60-40 split, but usage would be fair, something. But it ain't happened that way yet. Right now, I understand we both got over $250,000 apiece invested down the middle. All right, that's starting out not fair to Suwannee County. All right, man, I just wish y'all would go with that idea. But what I said. First meeting, and I listened on the second meeting, commenting on that, and I'm still there, that if y'all was to go and use the staff, we got 2 county staffs now, and I understand they've got full jobs, everybody's got a job, but if we used, and it hadn't happened yet, well, it sounded like some, but if we used all the employees available with their skill sets and all, and we made this thing that was safer, interlocal agreement, using the staff available, Miss Mandy, she could do a lot. I know she can. I'm serious, though. That's what I wanted y'all to do in the first place. Use the staff we have. Don't be going out and losing one asset as a grant writer and hiring increasing, again, that's, we're putting a big salary there to something, as Mr. Hanica said, and others, no business plan, no guarantees. We're going to leverage $20 million minimum or whatever. Assets.
Well, hold on. Nobody has said anything about leveraging $20 million of our assets.
Yes, sir.
No.
An asset transfer, it's not your asset.
I mean, I don't know that, and if he leverages, if he does leverage,
That's the only way to keep us from having to pay it.
They got customers too that's going to be producing.
Yeah,
income.
but right now it's inverted. It's already said it's upside down.
All right, go ahead.
The cheapest way it can be done is the way it's being done right now. Right now. Now, if it grows, we get that 10 counties in the region. Of course, that would be dissipate out and be less, and that's what y'all are probably got in y'all's scope, and I'd like to see that as well. But right now we ain't there. And splitting that with somebody said, Mr. Sessions said, he basically said it ain't gonna work with 2 counties. You know, two of them fit the bill that ain't gonna work. But how if again?
He said, I think you need more. That's what he said. Right. He didn't say it wasn't gonna work.
No, he didn't. I said about what he said.
About and what he said is 2 different things.
What he implied, it ain't gonna work with 2. That's what I heard him say.
I go home and tell my wife, that's about what you said. I could buy that. We'll see how good that works.
He wasn't in favor. He didn't have a whole lot of hope for 2 of them working. 10 will work better. All right. But the assets will be leveraged. The taxpayers of Suwannee County paid for them. We're going to forfeit them, and if the utility goes belly up, we will lose them, and the only way we get them back is pay that debt off with interest. And I'm pretty sure it ain't gonna be cheap interest if that happens. And I ain't doomsdayer. That's just a very big reality possibility. Let's see here. The only thing that's really going to increase the revenue is demand, more customers and all. Let's see. Yeah, and the board, the way that board's set up, and this ain't personal to nobody, all right? It truly ain't. This is just in general. Right now, it's an appointed board. It sounds like it's always going to be appointed, even if the state gets involved. Maybe we'll get one from the governor. Hopefully, that'd be a good one. But what I could also foresee is that we get a bunch of people that the people didn't elect up there on that board. All right, and I already have enough issue with the ones that get elected. But you get special interest people in there appointed. And we may already have one on that board, you know, wanted to start the starting salary at 140, no experience, degree in psychology, no water utility, and his idea for the salary was to start at 140. So I think the best case scenario is to go interlocal, use both counties' employees to make this thing work. That's safe. We ain't leveraging nothing. And another thing, it's been hit on, but one of my friends added, I didn't know, but the PFAs, the BPAs, and the drugs that would be injected with that water. Part of the reason I moved to Suwannee County for the water quality. All right, I had to drink water that wasn't this good of water. That's part of the reason I'm sure a lot of people do. I wouldn't want them bringing their water from over there. City people drink daggum sewer water, all right? Poop water. They filter out poop water and tell them to drink it. I don't want to drink that, you know? I don't know about y'all do, but I don't want to. I don't want no kids doing it. And so I'm against the way y'all are going about doing that. Safest way, I already said, Mr. Perkins' idea. We'll give him all the glory when y'all decide to go that route.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in regards to item number 10? Seeing none, we're going to move along. Item number 11, discuss with possible board action updates. And guys, if y'all want to, I know y'all were here probably for that, but if y'all want to leave, no disrespect. I know y'all We got a neighbor in town.
Run while you can. is all
Yep.
I can do.
Item number 11. No disrespect.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for coming.
We got several more items to do here.
Don't forget we have a meeting in the morning at 9:30.
I will send my 2 guys.
Where at?
Columbia County.
That's Big County.
Columbia County tomorrow. At the TV studio. Same place always.
Number 11, discuss with possible board action, updates to the purchasing policy manual. Adam Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is really Ms. Freeman's project. She's the one who's been working on this. I wrote up the executive summary. But as you can see there, we're proposing to update the purchasing policies, really needed for 2 reasons: to highlight the use of the new Bonfire electronic procurement platform, to update kind of how the policies work, the policies as they're written now are extremely vague, and we need it to be so that the person who steps into Holland's shoes, if there's a new hire, can read how to do things, and it's simply not there now. So really these policies flesh out a lot of just the actual how things are done. So you'll see there where I do put in the substantive changes of things that would change between the current policies as well as to these updated policies. And then there's also, before we start going through those, Mr. Chairman, I discussed with Holland today, there's a few other typos and other other substantive, some substantive and some non-substantive changes to add before we get started. So Holland, if you want to go through those real quick.
So I passed out before everybody got here today a couple of pages. There's, I think, 6 pages. Anything in red is what changed. So on that first page, page 25 that I gave y'all this afternoon, in red is that $5,000 figure. The substantive change there, and as many times as I've read that word, I cannot say that word correctly every time I try to say it, was that $5,000 increase. It is currently in our current purchasing policy $200 based on conversations between administration and finance talking with our auditors. That's the state's figure. That's where the state starts issuing POs. So that was kind of where we pulled that figure from to increase and have it, better across all things between finance and with us as departments under you guys. Do you want me to just go through them, or do you want to talk about that? I'm not sure how y'all want to do this.
The changes the additions are in red.
Right, so the changes are what has happened between my conversations with Mr. Scott, my conversations with Mr. Morrison, since the agenda packets went out. And they are...
I think they're deleted, Mr. Chairman. Those red lines are deleted.
The red is what will be eliminated. The sentence prior to the red is what is now. So on 29 and 30, both of those red sentences will just be pulled out because those were left over from what I was editing from. That's not how we work. Following those, on 60, 62.
So the black and white is what it's going to be, in the red
Right.
you're pulling out. Okay.
The red is the elimination for 60, 62. On 63, the red is an addition that was left out inadvertently.
And Mr. Chairman, while y'all are reviewing those, my thought on how to process this would for us to hash out whatever changes the board wishes to make with this draft here, and then submit for the next agenda a finalized final draft. This is everything with the resolution, but this is how everything should read, so that way we can get through it.
So, Mr. Chairman, on this, Holland,
Yes, sir.
on D on that last, on 63 is what is to be added, and all the others are to be redacted from.
Right. So on D on 63, that was not in the initial packet that was sent out as a draft, and we added it today when me and Mr. Morrison spoke.
So it adds as a county attorney responsibility under the policy manual to ensure compliance with bid protest procedures.
You, Ms. Freeman, you came up with the $5,000 from the state. That's the state number?
Yes, sir. That figure came from the auditor.
Okay. Here's what I would say to that one. And no disrespect to you or anybody else, but I'm a little more conservative than that. I think the state's got deeper pockets than Suwannee County has. I would like to see that bottom number south of 5,000 for supervisors. I just think that the number that the state authorizes their supervisors, their checkbook's a lot bigger. We kind of got to watch our pennies a little closer, maybe.
I think there might be a point of confusion. The thresholds, not POs, the thresholds are based on other counties' figures.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I'm looking at number 10, the chart there, where it just says it looks like a supervisor can make a purchase up to $5,000 with no other authorization.
Right. That is based on figures of other counties. I believe it was Clay and Alachua was what we based figures on for those.
Got deeper pockets than us too. And I may be out on a limb by myself, guys, but.
No, larger counties.
No, and these were put in there, I mean, you guys are free to change.
I just wouldn't let, I don't mean this in any kind of way, but like I revert back to how I would run my business, and I when it comes to $5,000, I want to know if one of my employees is about to go spend $5,000. I want to know about it. And like, hey, what's going on there? I just don't say, yeah, anything up to $5,000, buy whatever you want. Like,
Mr. Chairman,
how it works.
Just understand, this is not every employee. This is just supervisors.
Yes, sir. I would still like to see that number like 3,500 myself. That's just me. I'm probably only by myself with that one, but my wife tells me I'm really tight. So.
And that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And I'll ask Mr. Scott. I mean, how often would someone, a supervisor, need to make a purchase like this, more than $3,000 or $3,500?
Not often, I don't think. I would refer to a department head that may have, give you better examples. Being in the park business, I mean, if you need a pool pump, you need a pool pump, and you got to go get a pool pump. I mean, it's.
But is that something they could come to you? I mean, because you obviously would have the higher.
Yeah, we slow. Bottom line is speeding up the process so we can get the job done. That's the intent. I don't have a problem with adjusting the numbers. I mean, but there's in parks it'd be like one supervisor. In public works we've got 5, 6 supervisors. It's not but a handful of people that has that authority to go spend.
Mr. Chairman, and it may aid the board, if you look at your, the executive summary, I put under A, substantive changes. On the second page of the executive summary, you'll see what the current authority is and then what it's changing it to. So that may help you when you're looking at the executive summary. Go back here, Lee. I'll show you.
I see it.
Turn over the page.
1,000 to 5,000. Yeah.
I thought you can see right there. It says what it's changing it from and what it's changing it to. Just to aid the board in figuring out, so you can see what the changes are.
I mean, and I don't mean any disrespect to our supervisors. All I'm saying is we have a lot more supervisors than we do department heads. So if we have a lot of supervisors that can spend up to $5,000 without even talking to their boss, which I assume would be the department head, that could exponentially get away from you a little quicker. Are y'all following what I'm saying? So if you got 25 supervisors, but you only got 5 department heads, well, 25 times 5,000 is $125,000. And if you only got 5 department heads, that's, Mr. Klepper. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Still Moses Klepper.
But please keep it short, because we've been here a while. Please.
If y'all remember, y'all had a workshop over this, and y'all increased all of these values substantially, doubling some. I don't have what they were, but y'all went up in the last workshop over this. Y'all went way up.
I remember, it was a couple years ago, but yes, I remember.
I don't know if it
Year and a
may have
half,
been.
whatever.
May have been. Last time this was discussed, it went way up. And another thing, we're about 46,000 in this county. Alachua's got 286, about 6 times. They're comparing, and 232,000 in Clay County. So I get it, wanting to speed it up, but when you speed it up, sometimes you go by fast, and that just more opportunity for more error. And I know $18,000 is considered a nickel here in this room, but not from the taxpayers. Taxpayers don't feel that way. So, and just so I don't have to come up, well, that goes on all 3 of them, A, B, and C. I feel the same way about that. And that's, again, y'all went way up before.
Ms. Furry.
Just from department heads, and most department heads are in concert and communication with their supervisors on purchases like that. I mean, like if there's a generator that John in the field needs to go get for the springs to go pump water or pressure wash or something, and it's a couple $1,000s, it's not a lot, and we're in constant contact with those employees, so it's not, they just don't have carte blanche to go purchase something. I mean, we're involved and know what's going on, but just the amount of purchases wouldn't be a high volume of things, but just the day and age of price increases today, I think the numbers need to go up. And 3,500 I think is reasonable. The purchase orders is a different scenario. That's a whole different beast, trying to save paperwork and be more efficient and that sort of thing. It's just a piece of paper. But as far as the dollar amount, 3,500 is reasonable.
I'm just looking at the percentage of increases from what they were, and that one there is like 5 times higher than what it was.
It was pretty low, though.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, but the only one that I'm uncomfortable with is on table 1 under 10 is that 0 to 5,000. I would like to see that to be 3,500. But if I'm by myself, so be it. Y'all can outvote me 4-1. Everything else I'm pretty much okay with. But there again, I'm just one guy.
I'm going to check at 3,500.
Okay, I got 2.
Yeah, I'm with that. My question,
3.
though, is regardless, Jason, when you get up,
4.
even if they got to go and, say, run out to Lowe's and buy, or WB Island, buy a pump or whatever, and it's $2,500, they still have to get a purchase order for that. Everything has to be tracked regardless. So
that's a separate conversation, but yes, talking through finance and the auditors, they don't track with a purchase order number, they track with an invoice number. And if I'm wrong, Keith, you can clarify, but
Unless there's no invoice.
if there's no invoice number, which there's always majority of the time there's an invoice number. So the purchase order really is pointless. Like we go to John's or Lowe's and we buy something, we get it that day. They ask us for a purchase order number, we give it to them. We take that chainsaw and we're working with it for 2 or 3 weeks before they ever
goes up.
It's not like, hey, Keith, I need a purchase order to request to go buy this chainsaw. We're going to wait 3 weeks till that gets processed and go get it. So it's just kind of a moot point. Just trying to raise that limit on the purchase order side of things.
I got you. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, all we need, if I'm hearing correctly from the board, is essentially, other than that change to 3,500 from 5,000 on authorized supervisor to 3,500, is a consensus that you guys are okay with it as written, as amended here, that we brought up to you guys. And so what we'll do is I'll put on the consent agenda for next meeting the final draft with all of these changes fully incorporated into it. So we're just looking for consensus today, but not board action, so that way we can get this finalized and approved next board meeting.
The only one that I haven't heard from was Commissioner Perkins about the 3,500.
I'm good
Okay,
with
so we got 5. That's 5 that are good with the 3,500.
Am I correct in saying consensus, though, as amended, other than the 3,500 change?
Guys,
I mean, there's a lot there, but
There's a lot here, so I'm with Commissioner Hale. So I think you got it for now, but I'm not going to say you're going to have it when you come back.
All right,
I mean, like I say, I just got this, so I'm going to have to digest it. But from what I have scanned, I think you're going to be pretty safe.
All right, well, we'll move with that plan, Mr. Chairman, and of course, if the board wishes to pull it from the consent agenda, the board can always do that. So, is that good for you?
Y'all good with that? Move along?
Yes, sir.
So make that one change, and bring it back next meeting. Next item on the agenda is, that's number 11, number 12. Discuss a possible board action advertisement of request for qualifications for candidates for special magistrate to hear code enforcement issues and authorization to engage in contract negotiation with the highest score immediately upon completion of scoring. County Attorney, Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll keep this brief. I know it's been a long meeting. Our special magistrate, Mr. Rick Schutte, has resigned. We need to replace him. That needs to be a member of the Florida Bar. And we also have a backlog because of what led to Mr. Schutte's resignation of cases that need to be heard. So essentially, we haven't been able to have code enforcement hearings in months. So because of that backlog, what I'm asking the board to do is a couple of things, to allow it to authorize to go out to an RFQ, which I've developed. Holland's been working on that with me. Send it out for bid. We'll get together a scoring committee. Once that's scored, authorize me to go into contract negotiations with them, and if we can enter into a contract, authorize Mr. Scott to execute that on behalf of the board, so that way the magistrate can go ahead and get to work. One other thing, just as an aside, with the board's permission, in terms of the scoring team for this particular item, I've asked, because it does need to be a member of the Florida Bar, and it can't be me because I'll be the one doing the negotiations with the person who wins the bid. I've contacted my friend over in Columbia County, the Columbia County Attorney, Joel Foreman, and he's offered to kindly sit on that scoring committee for us, to be a member of the bar, so he can sit there and aid in that. I'd also recommend a member of administration, either Mr. Scott or Mr. Fury, as well as our code enforcement officer, Mr. Crespo, as he'll be the one primarily dealing with that special magistrate. So I'd ask the board to authorize them to be the scoring committee. I know it's a little unique, but given the unique position, I think that makes sense given the situation. So in sum, authorize it to go out to bid, authorize me to go ahead and execute negotiate the contract, authorize Mr. Scott to execute that contract, and authorize that scoring committee.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Scott on that, or Mr. Morrison on that? You asked Mr. Forson to do it to eliminate any bias, since you'd be the one doing the contract negotiations. You didn't want to be the same to do the scoring.
Correct. And also, yes, because I'm going to be the one doing the contract negotiations with them. I don't want to be the one saying who I did or did not think should score or not score higher.
So the scoring committee can bring you the highest qualified person, then you're going to negotiate with whoever they bring you.
Whoever that, yeah, and I won't have any say as to who that's going to be.
I like your thinking. And it's furry, as in hairy, like Chewbacca, not Fury.
He tells me his nickname is Fury Road, so I go with it.
I call him Chewy.
All right.
But it's furry, like Harry.
All right.
I even called him that in a meeting the other day.
I call it that too all the time.
Any other, y'all good with that authorization, or any more questions for Mr. Morrison on that? I need a motion if no more questions.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner White, a second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. Oh, was that Perkins? I'm sorry. Let the record reflect the second was Commissioner Perkins.
Gotcha.
Second was Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I got.
Number 13, additional agenda items. Mr. Scott, none. Administrator's comments.
Just wanted to, one thing, kind of a housekeeping thing, but I think it's important to, we've been talking about landfills for a while. I'd like to get the okay to get on the agenda for any other county or any other area's agenda to be asked, the possibility of joining them and taking our waste there. By the contract we have with our current provider, which is Waste Management, we have to give notice But unless we know what options we've got, I think we have a year out to do that. But we're doing our legwork now, trying to figure out where we might could go. But I think it's proper to ask, can we get on somebody else's agenda? For example, Columbia County, if we chose to see if they have interest in taking our waste, I think we need to get on their agenda to ask to look at that. So just want to get authorization to be able to get on other agendas if we need to.
I'm good.
Yep.
Good.
Yes.
Good. You got consensus.
Okay, thank you. First of all, it's really good to be back. Didn't realize it's going to last so long, so I might have waited till the next meeting. But just wanted to thank all the well wishes and the prayers that I received while I was out during the procedure and beyond. Really appreciate what everybody did. Appreciate the staff. They didn't miss a beat. They kept clicking along. We had obviously leadership to help answering questions they might have, but really proud of staff and just the kind of the culture we've established. Everybody's responsible for their actions and just go do your job. And they stepped up and did a wonderful job while I was out. Appreciate the leadership, folks reaching out back and forth. We communicated a lot. I was still at home, and even now as I'm working part days, that we're staying in contact. Even the county attorney has reached out a few times and trying to leave me alone as best he can. I appreciate that. But also the commission, the support you've given me and given the staff. I can't express enough how much I appreciate that. You've reached out when you needed to, but you left me alone to heal, and I really appreciate that. And I'm just blessed to have a community that supports what we do, and really, thank everybody for what they've done for me. And again, the prayers meant a lot. They made a huge difference, I know. Especially one particular Thursday night. I won't go into the details on that, but that was really appreciated. Just really proud of what we have and what we got going, commission and staff. I like to have one ask, and it may not be appropriate, but I'm going to ask anyway. I'm going to ask the commission to ask the county attorney to work up some sort of code of conduct that we have for folks that speak in the commission meeting. So many times we hear, and it's not a lot, but from time to time we hear comments that are made directed to employees, not departments, but employees. And it may not be in a personal manner, but it dang sure is. Our employees give a lot of time outside of the paid time to work and do things for the county. Our families take a beating for that. And when we get abused, our families get abused. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. If we have plenty of time to answer questions during the workday, if somebody doesn't like something, I don't have a problem with people asking questions, having concerns, different opinions. I welcome that. Everybody in this county needs to have an access and a way to communicate with staff and the board. But I think, especially while I was out, that was the kind of the nail that put in the coffin. But we've been seeing it for a while, and I think it needs to come to an end. Thank you.
Fair enough. Commission, you heard his request. Any conversation or comments about the county attorney working up some type of code of conduct?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Morrison, how would you? What's your response to that?
Here's fundamentally the issue, and I appreciate everything that Mr. Scott said, and he and I have had this conversation, and I understand his frustration. The problem comes in is we are a government body regulated by the First Amendment, and we cannot content moderate what someone says. So we can't pick and choose the good from the bad. So if we're going to say you can't say something bad about people, that means you can't say something good. So is this board going to say no compliments to county staff? Because that's what that policy means. It has to be content neutral. You have to do it that way. And so on the whole, While it stinks to be on the receiving end and not to be able to give it back for professionalism reasons, my recommendation is to let people say their piece and move on. Because as soon as you start saying you're not going to say this and trying to shut them down, citing that policy, you're creating an issue where there wasn't one before. And again, if you're going to apply it in a content-neutral manner, it's borderline impossible to do. And so that's why every time, how about this? There's no cases where they say, all the cases say you can do this, but I have yet to see one that says, and here's where it worked. Every time it's, and here's where it doesn't. So I certainly understand the frustration. I don't mind working up a policy. I can make up a policy that technically is constitutional. I'm telling you now, implementing it is going to be borderline impossible. If that makes sense.
Mr. Chairman, that was going to be my question there, is how do you implement that?
Yeah, maybe I've done a poor job as a chairman not refereeing the podium. I don't know, but there's definitely been some harsh criticism directed directly to individuals while their names were called. But I don't know how you. I don't know how you police it. I don't know how you silence it.
And the problem, Mr. Chairman, is you can't tell them to be quiet and then still let them say when you're doing a good job.
I think the only thing that I could probably do a better job at is definitely managing the time clock. I mean, I could probably do better about that. But, you know, sitting up here as a chair is not always fun. Matter of fact, rarely is it fun. And you hate to sit up here and tell someone, hey, you've reached your 3 minutes, sit down. As a chairman, I just hate doing that. I struggle with that because it's like some folks, it takes them an effort to get up there while we have others who come often and a long time. So personally, I just struggle telling someone to sit down. You know, you've reached your, I mean, I'm sure I could do better at the time clock, and that would eliminate some of the rambling and some of the harshness that we get. But at the end of the day, I guess it comes with politics. I mean, you're going to, it's a thankless job. I hear it all the time. You know, it's a thankless job. I don't know why y'all do it. And sometimes I ask myself, I don't know why I do it either. But I'll try to do a better job refereeing the time clock. But, you know, we've heard the county attorney. I don't know what we can do.
I understand. I had to say it, get off my chest. And
I understand your frustrations.
Well, I can tell you what the previous attorney told me when I got elected. He says they can say whatever they want to, true or untrue, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm elected. I know these are your employees, but as far as the board, they can say whatever they want to about you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And it goes with the territory.
But I think that's a true statement. I think what I remind myself of when I go home after I've been kicked hard like that is this a reflection of the person's character that was sitting there doing that too?
Yeah.
So I just think, you know what, maybe I am all those things, but as my brother in Christ, Mr. Perkins, would say, Lord teaches us to love.
Yeah.
Right. So. Anyway.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could just and again, I don't mean to cross you, Mr. Scott, you know that, but, and I think what kind of makes the point that I was trying to make of just let it go on, in terms of the policies that this board carries out, does this board carry out the policies that reflect what's good or the negative name calling? And I think that's where you can kind of see, just if somebody wants to say something negative, that's fine, just move along. That is by far the best way to handle something like that.
Fair enough.
I think you got to take all of them.
Fair enough.
that's all I got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much.
I guess what to go back to what the kids say back in the day. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me.
That's right. Amen. Commissioner Perkins.
Yes, sir.
We got board members' closing comments. That's where we're at. Item number 15. I think I started with Hale last time. I always flip-flop.
Okay.
Are you ready? If you're not, I'll make Mobley go. Matter of fact, Mobley, you go first. You ain't never went first. Mobley's up first.
Throw out a reminder for the Welborn Blueberry Festival. I think it's Saturday.
Yes, sir. What time?
About 7:30 in the morning.
Commissioner Mobley's providing sausage and bacon, and he'll be flipping pancakes.
And I appreciate Shannon's little presentation. That was Good, we needed that, and appreciate Mr. Ford, they coming too, so. Other than that, appreciate everybody for coming.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Perkins.
Just grateful and thankful that we do have our county administrator back in with us, and I would say glad to have you back. And also to thank everybody that's coming in and supporting us. I know everything may be in your behalf, but this board do try to seek out the best things for this county, and hopefully that we could bring a great resolve for all the issues, and maybe we can find peace for everyone. And also just to thank our Memorial Day. We want to say thank you to all those who have served us, so that we can enjoy this great freedom, and just thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Perkins. Mr. Hale.
I agree. I appreciate Shannon getting up here and everybody coming. Jamie, he helped me set off the fire drill with his article. But honestly, it got a lot of questions answered. It really helped me better understand. And again, maybe that's something as all of us sit on these boards that we sit on. You said it earlier, I think we should all do better maybe coming back and updating some of the things that we do. We do it all the time and we don't even think about it, and I get it. I really do. But I'd like to, good to have Greg back as well. But I got to, and I hadn't done it in a while, but I'm going to start with this. I got to say a huge thank you to Mandy, Ron, and Jimmy. Last Friday, you talking about a fire drill, we had one. He was in a meeting, I was in a meeting. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. I had 3 gentlemen that we were going to be meeting with. The time wasn't worked out perfectly. The place wasn't worked out perfectly. But it went off so well, just as a team coming together and people just stepping up and doing things that might have been out of the ordinary. And Mandy, thank you absolutely 100% for what you did. And Jimmy rushing back over and getting in and really carrying the lead on that, and Ronald too. So I appreciate that. That just shows what good leadership looks like, and good employees and good staff. So I appreciate that very much. Number 3 here, I guess I'm talking about, and I'm not going to call him Commissioner Land. I'm going to call him Travis. I appreciate his family and his employees. My family went through a pretty significant event. It's not pretty, but in those times and times of need and compassion, his group was amazing. I did see our city and our Sheriff's Department work well together that day as well. And it's just good to see that in a small community. It's good to see everyone support each other. And I appreciate it. Appreciate your business. Appreciate your employees.
Thank you.
And just thank you guys very, very much. And I just appreciate the board. Appreciate everybody being here. And like I try to tell everybody, pray for your neighbors. We never know what they're going through. We never know what tomorrow holds. And just try to be a good neighbor. That's all we can do. Try to be a good neighbor. So thank y'all.
Amen. Thank you. Appreciate that, and we'll continue to pray for you, family there, Commissioner Hale.
Yep.
Commissioner White.
I'll just echo what everybody else said. I won't keep it long. You elected me to do a job. I try to do it to the best of my ability and do it to what I would think you would want, and that's just what I do. I mean, I'm a business guy, and I'm used to making decisions, and I'm used to doing it on the fly, and I know government doesn't work that way sometimes, but that's how I operate. And so I'm just, at the end of the day, I just want you to know that I am working for you, and I am doing what I can to help this county. There's nothing personally in it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner White. I think we could all echo that, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, as business owners, sometimes you got 5 minutes to make a $100,000 decision. Sometimes you got 5 months to make a $100,000 decision, but sometimes you just got to make decisions, and I think that everybody up here makes them, with the taxpayers and the financial side of it, best way that we possibly can. But Mr. Scott, welcome back. Mr. Furry tried, but he lacks the gray hairs to sit there like you do. I think we put a few more in his head, but he's chewy, so he's got a few to spare. Shannon, great job tonight. We appreciate you. We will miss you. If you end up getting what you want, are getting what you're looking for. I appreciate Commissioner Ford. I know they're not here, and Mr. Kraus coming over too to show their support of the utility. And I mean, as Commissioner Ford said, he didn't know everything about it. Commissioner White said the same thing, but you know, no great project ever finished without ever starting. You know, so there's a reason why there's Emerald Coast Regional Utility. There's a reason why there's GRU. There's a reason why there's JEA. There's a reason why there's all these other utility companies across the state of Florida, because I think small governments and even big governments realize, like, we need to get out of the utility business. They can operate a lot more efficiently on their own versus us trying to do it by ourselves. So I think that's why those exist. I foresee at some point in the future that utility board being something similar to Suwannee Valley Electric, where that county line doesn't exist. Those districts that those board members represent being multi-county, just like Suwannee Valley Electric's is. So that county line's not there, and it's never viewed as it's us versus them. It's the utility and the utility board representing their people that live and have interest in both counties. That's how I see it. I don't know when that date is, but I think that someday we'll get there, and I think it'll be sooner than we think. But enough about that. I mean, I'm good. We've been here long enough. Unless y'all want to go back through something else. All I need is a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Commissioner White. Second. Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0.